What's up, guys? It is Tyler from Grace and Silence, back with another episode of High Voltage SLC, and I am absolutely elated to have my friend Mr. Tyler Bloomingdale of Life Elevated here today to talk with me about tattoos, music, conventions and everything that he's doing, and just everything that he's doing with the community here in Utah.
There you go. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, where do we start?
So I heard about this convention that you did in May.
Right.
This classic tattoo show, right?
Yeah, I did it at the Davis Conference Center.
Mm-hmm.
The Layton Classic Tattoo Show.
Hell
So the umbrella DBA is Classic Tattoo Show. And that's so we can do other events in other areas. But as far as the Layton show, we did it the second weekend in May. And it was a huge success. It was my first event of its kind. I'm known for being a tattoo artist.
Yeah, less of like, the organizer of certain things, right? More like used to being the artist, right?
Yeah, right. I'm used to flying the plane, not building it.
No, that's a good analogy.
Right. It's a different place to be in, but the show was a lot of fun and very interesting to put together. I found out because it was in May and we had started the planning and the sales and booth sales and the getting the different event together. We waited until January to get everything going and found out that we were scraping by on time. It was a bit of a rush.
Yeah.
Because I've done so many conventions in my 22-year tattoo career, I was able to kind of pull from the different shows that I've liked, right?
Yeah, like you kind of know maybe, hey, from this show, and of course I'm just spitballing, but you're like, hey, this artist was great at this show,
Right.
I know these different people, these different vendors from these different shows, right? And then,
Right. Yeah, different vendors or even different artists and what I liked from these other events. I've done Muse Inc. with Kat Von D, and so cool. Yeah, that was something I wasn't able to get onto that level. Hopefully I can graduate to that level at some point, but the woman already being a musician and then being in the LA community initially at least, she can bring a lot of high profile acts to an event, tie tattooing into it, and make something really, really cool out of it. And so on a smaller scale, it's something that I wanted to do, right? And I was really, really blessed and lucky through my career and the people that I've met and kind of the direction that I decided to go in to know some pretty intrepid, important artists in our community. So everybody knows the show Ink Master, or most people do.
Yeah.
And there is a judge, Ryan Ashley. She's a very famous woman at this point. And people are used to seeing her, but behind the scenes, she and her husband have a tattoo shop in Grand Junction, Colorado.
Awesome.
And so a couple of years back, I think almost 3 years back now, I had gone through as a guest artist and worked at that shop. A direction that I chase, right?
Yeah.
At one point, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go tattoo with famous people. I want to know what it is that gets them so good.
Yeah.
What it is that brings them to the inner circle of
What makes these people tick, right?
Right.
What's the identifying factor? Where's that separation?
Right. And also just the front runners and the groundbreakers in our community, right? It's a small circle. And the funny thing is it's a small circle, but it's worldwide. Right?
Yeah, sure. It's like, they're from everywhere, but the upper echelon is still this.
Still that top 2%, right? And so having the opportunity, developing my art, getting to the point where I was able to break the door down and get into these shops and then keep my head down and just grind while I was there, was able to build strong ties and relationships to people. And so one of my friends, Jacob Sheffield, he came out and he taught a seminar at my show along with another one of his coworkers, Paul Lanetta, both from Elysium Tattoo Studios in Grand Junction, which is Arlo Di Cristina and Ryan Ashley's shop.
Cool.
Really, really cool. Really neat. These guys are groundbreaking front runners of this community. The work that they're doing is insane. I mean, it's the type of artist that Joe Rogan loses his mind on his own podcast, right? He's like, oh my God, you see the sweat on the body on this portrait tattoo that Steve Butcher did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was able to take those faces that you want to see, and I knew that was crucial, right? How do you get a bunch of people from a state that you're not from, because I'm from San Diego originally, and I've traveled and lived and worked all over the United States outside of Utah until the past 7 years. So how do I get local people?
Yeah, and what's that transition been like as far as how you've been able to engage this community versus what you've experienced in other places?
Hard, kinda.
Yeah.
Right? I open a business and I'm an outsider, and I don't know that is necessarily a detraction. It wasn't a deterrent for me by any means, obviously, because I've moved into this direction. But getting to know all of the names, who's who out here. When I first moved out here, I couldn't tell you what artists were kind of pinnacle in our local area. And now, not only did I know the names that kind of came from the higher end or more long-lived tattoo shops like 27 and Vic Back, or Oak Adams and Painted Temple, just to name a couple. There's many more than that are incredible, and it almost took throwing the convention to come to realize how much depth there was in our community.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, it's great. It's great to be like, hey, where we're at, there are these artists that are groundbreaking, that are doing something new and exciting.
Yeah, and then standing on stage and being a participant in a judging circle for the quality of the tattoos and the different facets of what you judge on for a tattoo contest.
Yeah, and in general, not to go too far off the tracks, but what are the main criteria that you would judge on in a thing like that?
So important factors that everybody should be aware of if they're going to get a tattoo from somebody. Are they capable when it comes to line work? Do they understand what the layout or the format of a tattoo should look like? Did they pull it off, right? Do some areas look rushed? Does it all look even and of the same quality? And that comes back to maybe being rushed, because a lot of the things that happen, or the tattoos that are done at a tattoo convention, those are the ones that are being judged under a certain facet of awards, right? Tattoo of the day, best of show. They have to be started and completed at the show. And then what I did, which was a little bit different and wasn't everybody's favorite thing, was I made sure that any of the tattoos that were entered into contest were from artists who were attending as artists at that show. Makes sense to me.
To me, it makes. I mean, so where's the rub there? Because just and of course I don't know anything, but to me that sounds like, well, yeah, they were there. They're the artists there, so that's who's competing.
Right. So people who show up who have tattoos that are used to entering tattoos, they might be able to bring. It's an ego or a hubris saying, "Hey, I brought an award back to you." From where? That becomes the question. And if it's a inaugural tattoo convention, like Leighton, where's Leighton? That's a good question, especially if you're coming from New York, which we had some people come from, Philadelphia, Texas, Arizona, California. We ended up getting a really, really good group of tattooers to come out. Idaho, Wyoming. Yeah. So we lucked into some killers just in the industry in general, and I think going back to the people who were teaching, like Jacob Sheffield, Paul Anetta, we also had a local guy, Sean Lisenby. He owns Morningstar Tattoo in Ogden.
Oh, yeah.
That dude's a beast in neo-traditional tattooing. So,
and speaking of people who do tattoos who are beasts, so Tyler did this sleeve, and it's incredible all the way around. And, just obviously want to promote what you're doing.
Yeah.
So you own Warhawk Tattoo.
I do.
And, I mean, you guys can see the quality of the work. I mean, this camera's a little closer. Maybe we can get something going there. But, yeah, if you're looking to get anything like this done, go to this dude. Realism skills are off the charts.
I appreciate that. And let's stay humble behind it. And for me, if I'm not the guy for the tattoo, you can still reach out to Warhawk Tattoo. Yeah. And we're going to guide you in a direction, whether it's somebody in the shop who's tattooing or somebody outside of it. I often in consultation will say, listen, there's a group of us that do this type of tattooing in the area. Yeah. I might not know all of them, but I do know a group. And it's a way for me, one, to keep the relationships with the people that I know who are, really, really quality at what they do locally. Yeah. And that's important to me, right?
Well, and that's really respectable. It's like, just taking business that you're like, hey, maybe someone else would be better suited for,
Yeah.
That's not helping the person who's getting the tattoo,
It's always about the client.
For sure.
It's always about the client. The most important thing that I learned in a lifetime of just being on this planet was do the thing that you're passionate about and that you love, right? And monetarily, you'll get backed because you're going to put so much energy and effort into it, and you're going to develop yourself to that level. So people sometimes skew that, like, oh, I want to charge $500 an hour, have a $3,000 day, and they don't realize that the way, actually, at least in my industry, and I'm sure it's across the board, but in my industry, you need to be an artist. You need to paint, you need to draw, you need to grind. And when you grind and you show up and you have artwork outside of the tattooing secondary when it comes to your peers. When it comes to the client artwork's first, right?
Yeah,
Your tattoo work is first. They want to see a portfolio.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's what they give shit about 'cause they're getting on their skin, right?
Yeah. Not with artists. It's like you're in a band, right?
For sure.
They want to know that they can come to you and say, hey, okay, we're going to play this certain style of music.
For sure.
Do you know the theory?
Totally.
Do you know the whys?
Yeah, do you know, because as what you're talking about, like as far as like painting, drawing, there's so many facets to music and to visual art as well. It's like in order to be at this level in one thing, it kind of requires you have this overall proficiency in everything in order to be able to get there.
It's true. And through collaboration as well, right? Musicians collaborate to make the music that they're making, and the same thing happens within our industry. Our industry leaders will collaborate to give people, nowadays at least, information through training, through seminars, through online training, School with a K, which I think is Alex Hermosi, if you know who he is.
I don't.
I think it's his business. Great person to listen to. Shameless plug for somebody who knows how to build business and have a really strong business mindset. So love that guy. He's someone that I'll hop in my hot tub, put him on, listen to him, and he's a no-nonsense guy that, he was a gym bro turned multi-millionaire, $300 million business. And
Jesus.
Yeah, he's just
That's serious money.
Yeah, but he was passionate.
Exactly.
And you can see it in his physique, because if you start with the gym and you have somebody who doesn't have the physique, how are you going to follow that, right?
For sure.
So, so if I get to put something cool on your arm, that's great. Yeah. And hopefully I'm able to do that consistently, and that's time.
For sure.
Right.
And so I heard you were doing this bike week in South Dakota. So tell me a bit about that.
So I went to Sturgis.
So that's the name of it, right? Sturgis.
So Sturgis is the name of the bike rally. And There's a few of them across the United States that I know of, but this is the only one that I've been to. I've been riding motorcycles for a long time. Didn't actually buy my first Harley until I moved to Utah, so thank you, Utah, because I do love them, and it's fun. But yeah, Sturgis Motorcycle Rallies, 10 days of music, motorcycles, gear. Sturgis is cool. Sturgis is fun. So
that's so awesome.
Yeah, and then Rapid City is.
I'm gonna have to get my ass out there.
Yeah,
check it out,
bro. It's so cool.
So what are the dates? Again.
So the dates are August 8th and 10th.
8th
through the 10th, and that's in Rapid City at the Monument. That's a major event center. They do huge music venue. I mean, Godsmack to Dwight Yoakam. Elvis, I think, opened the place in the 50s.
That's super cool.
Super crazy, yeah. Dolly, everybody in the, they just have a picture timeline of everyone that's played, and it's long. So any band you could think of.
That's incredible.
Yeah. But so we've got the Layton Classic Tattoo Show happening again.
Tell me about all the conventions that are coming up.
Yeah, so Layton will be happening again mid-May. We're doing May 16th through the 18th. Davis Conference Center again. We have a woman. Her name is Reese Hilburn. Instagram handle The Art of Reese. That's a double ESE for her name, and she is a killer for Instagram business growth, personal business growth for tattoo artists. She was an artist on the tattoo show Tattoo Nightmares back in the day. Super sweet girl. I tattoo with her out in San Diego.
Hell yeah.
She has the Edge tattoo studio out there.
Sick.
Which is killer. She's funny girl. And so she guides you through passion, self-worth, and belief, and aligning yourself, she's really that way, to being able to become a 6 or 7 figure entrepreneur, which is all that we are.
Hell yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, at the end of the day, doing any sort of passion project like this, it's like you're an entrepreneur. You're trying to take this medium that you love and that is a part of your soul and turn it into something greater.
Right.
And so, because you've been at this for a while.
Yeah.
And
2002 December was when I did my first tattoo.
So tell me about your journey.
I was terrible at it.
Well, of course, at first.
I have a seedy past with a seedy journey. I had a prison term where I needed to make money because I came from a very poor family, right?
Didn't have money on your books.
Didn't have money on my books.
Got a hustle.
Needed a hustle.
For sure.
I was drawing envelopes for people, pen paling girls in other jails and back home to keep people in good graces for, the length of their terms. I ended up doing nearly 5 years on that term, and I couldn't be supported by my family on the streets, nor did I expect it, right? Like, let's just keep it for what it is. I was a POS who was just not going in any kind of good direction. Sure. Very, very drug-related, the history, which at this point now I'm working on my 4th year sober.
It's incredible.
Yeah, which is cool, through the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, and it's anonymous for a reason, so
of course
we'll keep it at that. But the prison history is ridiculous. So let's just go to the fun stuff. Getting tattoo machines in prison is not terribly difficult.
Well, there's some people are crafty as all hell.
You have to be, right? You need sources for electricity. The cool thing, they give us radios, they give us TVs, they give us, at this point now, electric shavers. You get all these different things. And so a motor from a Walkman, a motor from an electric shaver, anything that's going to be one of those small pancake rotary motors, you can build a tattoo machine from. And then some, you use it and you trade it, and as people are moving in and out of the prison, I was on a level 2 in 1 yard during my term, and then the fire program too in California is another thing that I was a part of. So I was fighting fire, doing wildland forestry and stuff like that. But
yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was my saving grace: be in prison but give back to society and be able to kick ass and fight big fires. But yeah, these machines, so you get to use these machines, and then that was cool and terrifying. And I started a tattoo, did the line work on the tattoo, one of our judging criteria. Turned out all right, and I was petrified, smoked about 10 cigarettes in a row before I went back in and finished the tattoo. Tried to get my buddy to finish the tattoo for me, who was already tattooing in there. He's like, no, dude, just finish it. You're doing fine. That's great. And I was like, anxiety, right? But that's what we live with in prison anyway. So I finished the tattoo. People kept asking me to do work for them. I got to the point where you have a limited amount of money that you get on your own for supplies. So you go to store and you have a draw of like $90 at that point. And so you could buy stuff, anything from I don't know, candy and sodas, which you don't get regularly. You get state food, right? To ramen soups and everything that we do to build spreads and type of cooking in there. So I would have other people who would get phone cards for me, right? Mm-hmm. So call their people at home. Hey, put money on his books. Give me their entire spend for their store, so they'd go and shopping for me.
Sure.
So now I was the guy that has everything, which in a certain way would kind of put a target on you.
A little bit, right?
Yeah, it sucks. But then
so you got inventory.
But you're also protected because the guys who want to look badass from the tattoos that you're doing for them, right, aren't going to let you get fucked with. And I was tattooing, I don't know how or why, but I was putting 80s ones on Hell's Angels and all sorts of crazy tattoos.
Yeah.
Being of the Caucasian descent.
The Caucasian persuasion.
Yeah, that persuasion. I wasn't allowed to do other ethnic-based tattoos. So they have
that'd be a real problem, right?
They have their own people for that, right? But usually even within the Caucasian persuasion, there's segregation that happens in there. And so, I don't know. It's nice to get out and be actually have found a career in this.
Well, yeah, because you've turned this into something that's not only become something that's great for you, but something that's great for your family and great for the people around you.
Yeah.
And I'd love to talk to you about that, because I have a great personal connection to that, because my father comes from a lot of really, really hard places.
Yeah.
And, and some similar places to where for you.
I've had the conversations with him.
Of course.
Yeah.
And, at the end of the day, I know for my dad, and I'm certain for you, it's about having the opportunity to do things for that kid, right?
So yeah, I have a son, 25-year-old. His name's Bailey, and when I went to prison, he was just a couple years old, and so I had spent more time in prison when he was a toddler by the time I was out than he had been alive, by half, right? So more than half of his life, probably two-thirds or three-quarters of his life was gone to that. And in that time, his mom had moved from San Diego to the Fresno outskirts, mountains. And so I didn't get to have the relationship, and there was that separation. And I grew up without a father, so of course my addiction and the personality behind my selfishness and personal work that I hadn't done until, obviously, we're coming up to 4 years with sobriety. So in the past 4 years, I had to find out what it was that had hurt me and what it was that had allowed me to live that hurt out into my son's life, right?
Yeah.
flash forward to 6 years ago, Kirby, my wife, and myself, we get pregnant and we're having a daughter. And so my daughter was born in Ogden, and her name's Elvie.
She's so sweet.
Oh, dude, she's so sweet.
No, she's rad, dude.
Yeah, and she's headbanging at Lamb of God and going.
No, dude, like seeing her at because I've gone and been. Because I've gone to the tattoo convention with you and had this tattoo looked at.
Right.
I don't know how to. I've entered into a contest, and so just seeing her and she's like running around. She's good. She's doing her own thing. I love it.
Yeah,
she's great.
She parties. She's used to it. I've had her at concerts and shows and metal shows and
super awesome.
Yeah, I'm taking her to Sepultura. Sepultura's doing their farewell
tour. I love
tour.
Sepultura, dude.
Bro, they're doing their farewell tour. Should get after it.
I have to. I know I have to.
Yeah.
Who's drumming with them again? I can't remember because I know they replaced their drummer.
Who
the fuck is it? Is it Jay? Is it Jay Weinberg? Is he playing with them?
I'm not sure. I don't.
Fuck, it's somebody.
you know that Spanish YouTuber who's really, really famous? The drummer?
El Estepar.
Yeah.
I can't even remember his name. He's the Groove Father. The man.
So he's now playing for some metal band, and I don't know which one.
I can't remember. Because I follow him.
Yeah.
He's a beast.
Yeah, he's a beast. And he's... I don't know what version of Spanish he is, but... Maybe it's Brazilian. Maybe it's Sepultura. I don't know. I should research it. Look it up. It's going to be somebody that rips.
It's going to be someone who's a fucking animal.
Yeah.
That's just what it's going to be.
Double bass is on point. So, but yeah, so to segue back to, I guess, the point of my existence at this juncture in my life is my kids. So I didn't have my son. I had my little girl. I'm raising my little girl. And I had always had this, like, subtext, right, in my psyche talking to me saying, when I get my life together and I can provide, I'm going to reach out to my son. And I finally got to a point where doing the work on myself and figuring out what my fears and my issues were, I understood that was that kind of, like, last line of selfishness that I had in the way of stepping past the fear, making my amends, stating my apologies, and saying, hey, dude, like, you've got a little sister. That's bigger than my fear, right? Like, am I going to be the person who stands in the way? And like, you hear so many stories. Somewhere later in life, like, someone does a DNA test.
Sure.
Like, oh, I have this family I didn't even know about, and this is my family tree, and I have a sister that lives 45 minutes from me, and I'm 40 years old, and I never knew her. And I couldn't keep that the storyline for my family.
Sure.
Grew up without my dad. That's my own suffering. I did the damage that was done. I got lucky, and my son is an incredible human being. And so I reach out to him. He meets his sister. We do a family trip together. He's come out a couple of times. And then now he has moved to Park City. He's a bartender at Versanti up there. And he was able to move his friend who worked with him out in Fresno at some whatever lazy dog restaurant bar thing, right? And now his friend who is now his roommate is working on Main Street in Park City at Flanagan's, and yeah, dude, like, so he's super stoked. He's killing it. He's a fruit and berry mountain dude. He should have been here anyways, right? Because he was in the mountains in California, so he leveled up to pro level.
Yeah, that's like the pro level mountains.
Yeah, we're here in Utah, right? So, and it's exciting because he gets to be involved with his sister.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's very gratifying for you.
Oh my gosh, and it just feels safe.
It feels right.
It does. I have a 6-year-old. I'm 48 years old, bro. Like, I'm not going to be here forever.
Yeah.
And her brother's old enough to be her dad, nearly, at 25. So, young dad, but that's kind of normal for Utah, right? Grandma's turning 40 and already a grandma. I know some of those out here too, which is sick.
Yeah, it's funny, like, growing up here.
Yeah.
And, because I grew up in a semi-religious household, but that's besides the point.
Right.
Just like seeing all these people I know, because I'm about to turn 18.
Right.
And like all these people that I've known growing up that are like 19, 20, and like half of them are married. And I'm like,
Right.
What?
Right.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know, whatever works for you. I'm just like, that's a lot. That's early.
Well, they bring over a baby and you're like, oh yeah, I'm this baby's uncle. And then they have an uncle that's older than them somehow as their little brother. I'm still trying to do the math on that. And it's just, love you guys. Good job. Whatever. I'm just going to be supportive.
That's all you can do, right? Like, hey, man, whatever works, right?
It works. People are happy. They've got big families.
No, and that's great to see. I mean, like, my next door neighbors, like, every Sunday they have like a ton of their family over, and frankly, sometimes I'm a little bit like a little jealous that they have like this huge extended family that's like all really cohesive and a big part of each other's lives.
Well, good news is 15% of your earnings will get you that big family. Just got to pay for it. All right, did I say that out loud?
No, that's funny. That's good.
Yeah. So life's building in its way, and because of the tattoo conventions and because of the tattooing and people like you, honestly, getting the opportunity, and your father getting the opportunity to do the tattoos and live out my passion, I'm able to kind of just flow, right? Mm-hmm. So now my business partner has a master's in marketing. He's very good at marketing. He knows how to do that stuff. But you put him in front of people and he shuts down. And me, I understand what I want. And if I can describe it to you, if you're the professional that knows how to do it, then that's great. Yeah. Because you'll be able to put the vocabulary behind what I'm trying to butcher and explain. But I'm good with people. And it is my industry, so tattoo conventions, it makes sense. And I've paid my dues. I've put my time in. I've tattooed professionally in Utah for 8 years now, I tattooed professionally in New York, Philadelphia, San Diego.
So you've been to a lot of like the big meccas.
I wanted to be able to travel and tattoo, but I lived in all those places in tattooing. As far as tattooing in the United States, probably half of the states I've been to and tattooed, whether it be conventions or guest spots. Sure. And something that I'll continue doing, obviously, now that I'm a event promoter.
Yeah. And so what's the most like recent event that you guys are doing?
So the most recent event that we will have upcoming.
Sorry, that's what I mean. I phrased that weird, but you know what I mean.
It makes sense. So it's still in the works. Mm-hmm. I've got to get everybody that I know. I like to network with people that I know. It's important. So if you're not doing that in life, then you don't know the right people, and you're not living to your level, right? If you just have to be working in that gambit and have those level of friends. So sure. I have a lot of friends that have their own...
Takes a village.
Yeah, it does. And they have their own businesses or podcasts or whatever it might be that gives you opportunity to see what it's about.
Exactly.
Believe that it can happen. Understand that it's true. So I'm looking at bringing out an artist who is a dear and close friend of my wife. His name's Chris Awesome. He's a DJ. He was a DJ and promoter in San Diego when we lived there and where I'm from. And now he's out in Hawaii doing the same thing. So he's on Oahu, producing music and
Hell
DJing. Yeah, man. And
dude, that's awesome.
a lot of like house and progressive electronic music kind of stuff.
Fuck
You know,
yeah.
stick with the times. But Homeboy rips, and so we're looking at having him headline for a rave out here locally.
That's so cool.
So I'm not going to mention the city yet. I'm not going to mention the venue yet because I haven't set it into stone yet. But those are the kind of things that you can do, because I always talk to my business partner and I'm like, here's an idea, blah, 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 blah. And then I end it with, why not? And that's the fun part, because you give somebody the opportunity who knows you, who also is a partner with you, to play devil's advocate. And we do it with each other back and forth. He comes up with ideas. He's like, oh, I want to freeze dry Skittles. And I'm like, you can get that at the gas station. You know, like 10 years ago, killer, you know, but it's not a niche anymore, and not everything has to be.
No, of course.
But it's hard to be a small business startup with something that's already like major corporate produced
For
at
sure.
this point.
And, you know, for people like us, it's about like, how do we integrate different creative communities in what we're doing?
Right.
You know, because like integrating music into like the visual art, you know, it's like the more the merrier. And like you're saying, why the fuck not?
And you've been to a tattoo shop. If music isn't playing, it's not a tattoo shop.
No,
I don't care what you say.
Of course not.
I've been to those creepy launch myself into a casket and pretend like it's okay tattoo studios. Like, they want to call it a studio, and I'm like, studio's for music, bro. A tattoo shop is for tattoos. There better be art, flash, noise. It should be pandemonium. And if it's not pandemonium, I don't believe it. It doesn't celebrate Americana history as far as tattooing goes. And since I haven't tattooed outside of the United States, I think I can stick to that without brandishing a weapon towards Europe or any other place.
Yeah.
We'll see once I get there.
Yeah, we're going to see.
We'll see. I don't mind. So yeah, that'll be up and coming. It's looking towards Valentine's next year for that event.
Awesome.
So be on the lookout for that. I'll have to develop and create social media behind that. But a good place to start with me, ClassicTattooShow.com, Classic Tattoo Show on Instagram or Facebook is a way to find us.
Hell yeah.
You'll get links to the South Dakota show, to the Layton show. We'll have a link to the Valentine's show, and then links to our other businesses, whether it be Mitch's marketing firm or Warhawk Tattoo, my tattoo shop, some of the other stuff that I'm doing. I built a toy truck.
That's so sick.
Dude.
Toy truck.
So, you know what I didn't want to do?
What?
Pay to build a whole food truck out of a truck that I already owned. So you know what I did?
What do you do in that situation?
You build a kids event and you put toys on it. And then you go to Food and Ag and make sure that you can put ice cream and candy. Because if your idea sucks, at least you can play.
At least you got something.
Bro, I got a PA. I'm playing the ice cream truck music, driving around. People are looking at me. I have the thing dolled up with a whole bunch of stacked toys on the side and all the advertisement. The toy truck is what it's called. It's super duper sick. So look out for it at a farmer's market near you, or rent it for your kid's birthday party, because
that's sick.
Yeah, dude, you go and you pick the toys and your kids are like, oh, I want these toys, right? And so you go and you get the toys and they open toys and that's the thing, and okie dokie, that's super neat, right? But what about giving your kids some Monopoly money, toy truck money, right? And all of his friends at the party, and they get to go shopping for toys live at the event.
Dude.
Crazy.
That's legit.
Right?
I love it. I love the idea. I love
Pull a Slinky off the truck, slap it in your friend's face.
Throw it at your homie.
Get real tired from all the ice cream and soda that you eat. Grab a Squishmallow, lay out, right? Like,
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
No, that's super rad.
Yeah, it's super rad. And some of it, you know, it's gauged to the demographic. Boy, girl, whatever. right? Gauge to the age brackets that make sense for something like that.
For sure.
So younger ages, no, we're not doing kids and chokables. We're staying past that. But some educational toys.
Cool.
Stuff like that as well. And we can show up, get that all bagged, set up, done for you, right? We have a PA. We can host the gathering of the children and the parents and the everybody, and do the gift opening portion of it.
Yeah.
So you kind of have like your own live DJ for gift opening.
It's great. You're selling an experience. And I think that's, that ties a lot to the other stuff that you do as far as when you're doing tattoos, doing conventions. It's like you're selling an experience,
Selling.
You're
Sell.
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 And the first time that I walked in your shop, immediately I was just like, whoa. This is cool. There's a vibe, and it's really been set in place. You got the motorcycles. You got all the dope artwork. You got the spray paint. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's blue collar. Mm-hmm. I'm not a scientist, although I work with scientifically developed products. But I think everybody does, right? It's super cringe, right? To have no art on the wall, in my opinion, and have somebody walk in and have an expectation. And like, I want it old school. I have actual physical flip through it book portfolios in the tattoo shop.
I've looked through them. The artwork's great.
It's important. You know? It's tangible.
Well, and I always know it's like, if pull up to Warhawk Tattoo, it's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna see you guys. It's warm. It's fun.
Right.
It's what it should be. It's what, in my mind, a tattoo shop should be. It's energetic. There's a lot of camaraderie. There's a lot of, bashing each other.
A lot of camaraderie.
I love it. It's great.
Well, that's, the open format, kind of that garage feel where you show up, everybody's in the same room.
Yeah.
You might be wrenching on a different car, but that's what 4 bays in a mechanic shop is for. You might be sharing tools, you might need a hand, whatever it is, and so we can call to arms the other people who are working there to help us out, or even the other clients. Like, what do you think about this? Did I suck, or am I cross-eyed today and didn't have enough coffee because that fucking name is not straight on that dude's back and I don't know how to get it there, right? Well, it's because it's Quasimodo and he's standing with a hunch. So there's always an excuse with the tattoo artist as well. It's not our fault.
No, of course not.
Not this year. Next lifetime, maybe.
Yeah. I really, really appreciate you coming on the show
and
hanging out.
Hell yeah.
And as soon as we're done here, I've got some tattoo ideas to tell you about that I think you would be well suited for.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
You're 18 soon, so the butt cheeks are open for business. Oh! Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited for it.
Hope your dad didn't hear that.
I'm sure he didn't, but thank you.
We try, we see, we fight.